Saudi Arabia is claiming that if you compare them to ISIS on social media, they'll sue you. They'll sue you. I'm going to have about 312 lawsuits coming my way any day now. A government official said the following, quote, "Questioning the fairness of the courts is to question the justice of the kingdom and its judicial system based on Islamic law, which guarantees rights and ensures human dignity. The ministry would not hesitate to sue any media that slandered the religious judiciary of the kingdom." Okay, that comment is fucking hilarious. So they say, well, look, you can't come after us. We're just guaranteeing rights and human dignity. And then you respond to that by saying, well, wait a second, but you're implementing Sharia, which has a lot of fucking questionable things in it. Like, no, that's cool, because we are defining Sharia as guaranteeing rights and ensuring human dignity. No, but see, that's the problem right there. Your whole premise is fucked up. That ain't a way to function in the modern world. Okay, you can't just say, apostasy, behead him. That's stupid. That's dumb. That is not ensuring human dignity. In fact, it's doing the opposite of that. It's the exact opposite of that. So the recent comparisons to ISIS have been in response to the case of Ashraf Fayyad. We spoke about him on the show. He's a Palestinian who's facing death because he dared to question Islam. How outrageous of him. And he dared to write poetry. But it's okay because, again, Saudi Arabia is telling us, no, we care about human rights and we care about dignity. That's why we're killing poets for writing poetry. People so stupid on this earth, it's hard to even wrap your mind around the fact that they exist. Now, they also hate this cartoon. God, this is probably the best cartoon I've ever seen in my life. For everybody listening on the live show, it's an ISIS guy about to behead somebody, standing next to a Saudi Arabian guy who's about to behead somebody. And one of them, of course, is our enemy, and the other one is a friend and ally. Our beloved ally, Saudi Arabia. There's an article that was pretty big over the past week describing Saudi Arabia as an ISIS that made it. And so now this is a case of thou doth protest too much. They're like, you're going to compare us to ISIS? Well, then we're going to sue you. Well, wait a second, dude. If you really think it's not true, why would you need to go that extra level? Why are you being so extra, dog? You're going that extra level because you're like, it's kind of true, so I'm going to lash out against you. It's like the closeted gay people who are like, I'm not gay. I'm not gay in any way at all. I don't like dick. No, but those people are lashing out for that exact reason. They have an internal struggle and they're externalizing it. They know that critique is legitimate and they feel it's like, no, I'm going to sue you if you say it. Okay, but here's my message to Saudi Arabia. If you don't want to be compared to ISIS, very simple. Let's start with, you're not allowed to classify atheists as terrorists. They literally do that. They say all atheists are terrorists. I didn't know I was a terrorist. I would think that a guy like myself who swore off all violence except in cases of self-defense, I thought that'd be basically the opposite of a terrorist. But they're telling me, no, you're a terrorist because you're an atheist. Okay, well, you know who thinks that way also? ISIS. It's not wrong of me to point that out. It's accurate of me to point that out. That is true. All right, more. Don't behead people for apostasy if you don't want to be compared to ISIS. Okay, how about don't behead people for drug smuggling or adultery or homosexuality or sorcery or witchcraft. You can't do that if you don't want to be compared to ISIS. See, the problem is, you guys say, you admit it, hey, we're a Salafi government. We're a Salafi government. Okay, well, ISIS says we're a Salafi group as well. So what do you want to do? If you don't want to be like them, don't be like them. Change the way you're acting. I know, a radical idea. You'd rather just sue people for pointing out the obvious and things that are factual. And for the record here, hey, Saudi, no amount of bullying is going to make the shitty book that you base your laws off of true. You can bully us all you want. It's not going to somehow magically make it so that there's wisdom all over the Quran and the Hadith. And just to give you some examples of contradictions in the Quran, again, I love, I've grown close to a former Islamist who's now, he de-radicalized himself. He has a fascinating story. And he lived and breathed this stuff 24/7 because he was an Islamist. He was in this life. So he memorized, the Quran and the various hadiths and stuff, and he tells me all the time, look, man, let me make a list of contradictions in the Quran for you so you know exactly what we're dealing with here. And let me just give you a couple, because I'd be here all day to go through the full list of contradictions in there. And it would be the same thing for the Bible, just to be clear here. Nobody's saying that one's better and this one's worse. No, it's all stupid. It's all wrong. It's all dumb. And let me give you some examples. So it says, for example, that a day for Allah is 50,000 days on earth. And that's in the Quran 54. And it says it's 1,000 days in 32:5. Okay, so right there, that's not possible. It's got to be one or the other. Omnipotent book, it's perfect and totally flawless. Except that there's this contradiction, which means that it can't be flawless, because one of those things has to be, one of those things you have to pick. Those don't mesh. That's self-contradictory. This is basic logic. Apparently God's omnipotent, but he can't get basic logic right. All right, let me give you some more. It says there's one garden in heaven in 31:30 and more than one in 22:23. You'd think God would get a better editor. Who captures the soul of dead humans? In one part, it says angels do. In another part, it says Allah himself, and that's it. Another contradiction. How many wings does the angel Gabriel have? In the Quran, it says 2, 3, or 4. And in the Hadith, it says 600. Little bit of a discrepancy there. How many days did creation take? Well, in one part, it says 6 days. In another part, you count it up, and it says 8 days. What substance did Allah use to create humans? This is one of my favorites. At one part, it says water. At a totally different part, it says, quote, something like pottery. And at another part, it says blood clots. The Jamaicans are going to be happy to hear blood clot, man. They're going to be happy to hear that one. And it takes 1,000 years to get to heaven in one part of the Quran. In another part, it takes 50,000 to get to heaven. At one part, it says only Allah is your protector. At another part, angels are your protector. Guys, it's a fucking endless list. So, if you're basing your laws and your morality on this book, but it's easy to prove that this book is incorrect, then indeed you are basing your laws on myths. Myths. So then your actions stand on their own merit. So they are what they are in and of themselves, which means what? You're killing people for being gay. You're killing people for living a religion. You're calling atheists terrorists because they disagree with you. There are many parts of the Quran where they talk about inheritance is different for women. It's less for women than it is for men. There's some parts that are interpreted as women got to cover up. Hey, don't show your head. What are you, some kind of whore? So you have all these laws based off this, but what you believe is not true. It's false. It's like basing laws off of Mother Goose or Narnia. So you're just assholes. That's what you are. You're taking an ancient, desert, barbaric, backwards, not modern at all system, and you're saying, we're gonna put this in a place because it's moral to do so. No, it's not moral. It's the opposite. It's immoral. So you got to get this through your head, guys. And this isn't to attack all Muslims, because Muslims are human beings. They're people, just like anybody else. This is to attack the ideology and the belief system and the so-called holy book, which is not true. So wake up. Snap out of it. We can there's something more innate in us, which is a better moral code than this or any holy book. The idea of I'm not going to fuck with that guy because I don't want that guy fucking with me. It's called basic reason. Ooh, crazy, I know. Don't steal people's shit. Don't rape people, don't murder people, don't lock people up for expressing their freedom, which is something we still haven't even gotten down at all in the West yet, when we lock people up for smoking weed and stuff like that. Let's be smart. Let's use our brains as opposed to picking out old dumb books that are full of contradictions and nonsense to base our laws off that.